Matt Fraction's run on Batman so far has introduced a ton of different, likely connected plot points. There's Vandal Savage's takeover of the Gotham City Police Department and his attempt to start a war with Batman. There's also a new villain called the Minotaur who has united the major crime families and operationalized their crimes, making them more money than ever before. At the same time, someone is trying to undermine their work and they hired Anarchy to steal from them. Oh, and how can I forget? Arkham Dr. Zeller's Crown of Storms, a new device designed to cure insanity, and it's working very well on the Joker. And Tim Drake has retired as Robin. I almost forgot that plot point too. And then there are minor things that haven't even come close to being resolved yet, like that strange gas coming out from the sewers that people keep mentioning. My point is there's an awful lot going on and each issue seems to add more things, but issue 9 has started to deliver. So for those that haven't been keeping up, Batman now operates out of Pennyworth Manor in Gotham City. His home, Wayne Manor, had been sold out from underneath him to Vandal Savage, who sought an artifact that Batman had kept in the Batcave. And it seems like the easiest thing to do was just buy it without Batman knowing. However, Batman foiled his plans and as such he's decided to stick around and make things difficult for the Caped Crusader out of spite. He supports the Minotaur and the new mayor of Gotham, Pamela Isley. And while you don't have to be reading Poison Ivy's ongoing series to follow this story, you probably should because it's a very good comic. But the long and short of it is that Savage wants revenge on Batman and he's doing everything he can to disrupt his network. Now the issue is that Batman knows what Savage is up to and he has a scheme of his own in play. This whole issue is essentially a smokescreen for Batman. He can't just evade Savage and defeat him outright. It'll just make him angrier and more determined. But at the same time, he can't just roll over and let him win. So he orchestrates a controlled victory for Savage. The TUCO squad has been given authorization to apprehend Batman and his allies by Mayor Isley and the District Attorney's Office. Their aim is to capture Batman and the Batfamily, or the Batman crime family as the press call them, which I absolutely love, or goad them into attacking the police to justify lethal force. So Batman brings together the allies he has, the Signal, Batgirl and Oracle, to keep the TUCO squads busy while he and Robin handle a mission of their own. That's not to say that his team are just doing busy work. They are rounding up important assets to prevent them from falling into Savage's hands and taking their equipment to Michael Lane to hide. Now there is a deep cut. Who else remembers this version of Azrael? But this objective is tertiary. Batman tells them that if it looks like they're about to be caught, then they must abort. Their safety comes first. Initially, he had intended for Robin to have a minor role as a consequence of him accidentally revealing his own identity to Dr. Zeller a few issues back. But as Batman converses with Alfred, who is not a hologram or a ghost, just a memory of a loved one in Batman's head, he forgives his son and offers him the lead in their main goal, and he gladly accepts. The Signal and Batgirl meanwhile do their best to keep the TUCO squads looking elsewhere. To be clear, the TUCO squads are no joke, they're well trained and are eager to shoot to kill. They even manage to get to one of the facilities ahead of Batgirl and lie in wait for her, which catches them all by surprise. But at the same time, their callousness is ultimately what sets them up for failure. When they chase after the Signal, they try to goad him into using his powers, then this becomes a federal case with additional firepower brought in. So the Signal has to try to evade them and calls for backup. This is when Batman arrives. Taking out the gunner with ease, he activates arguably his most Batman is prepared for any eventuality gadget yet. Retractable bat bollards that were built into the streets years ago, presumably following the No Man's Land crossover. I don't know why, but the idea that Batman has hidden dozens of bollards in Gotham streets really amuses me, almost as much as the idea of Vandal Savage ordering the streets to be ripped apart, looking for any others. But while the Signal is able to get away, Batgirl struggles. As I mentioned earlier, TUCO were at her facility already, and they are very close to capturing her. So it's at this point that Batman's failsafe is activated. Oracle disables the communication scrambler and speaks on an open airwave, letting Savage know where she is. She has deliberately sacrificed herself to save Batgirl from being captured, as all squads are sent to capture her. And this was part of Batman's plan all along. He needed Savage to get some sort of victory, something big enough to satisfy him, but not so big as to completely undermine Batman's mission. And what's more shocking than learning that the former police commissioner's daughter is one of Batman's closest allies? Now, this end result was spoiled a few months ago when the solicitations for this comic and next week's Barbara Gordon breakout comic were announced. Barbara is incarcerated in Vandal Savage's secretive high-security prison, along with metahuman criminals and people that annoy him. Mixing superpowered criminals and political prisoners is a recipe for disaster, so the plan is to have a trusted ally on the inside, someone to act as a vigilante within the prison, defending the ordinary people, and that is Barbara's role. This is something she does willingly. It's also worth noting that Barbara peacefully surrendered to the TUCO squad and leaves the door open for them, asking what took them so long. By the time she's wheeled out in front of the press, her glasses are broken and she has a bleeding lip, presumably because she didn't cower enough for their liking. And while this was spoiled ahead of time, really it's not the whole point of this issue, because while the Batfamily have been rounding up their gear and Batman and Oracle have been protecting them, Robin has been busy. This task was originally going to be handled by Batman, but actually I think it's more fitting that his son handles it, given that it pertains to his legacy. In short, Robin has placed explosives inside of the Batcave and all around Wayne Manor, and they blow it up. Yes, it was their home with lots of memories attached to it, but not all of them are good. And to see it being used by Savage and his criminal cohorts was sickening. Better to just destroy it all and move on. So, yes, Savage got his small victory. He gets to parade one of their allies in front of the press as a member of the Batman crime family. But Batman has taken control of his legacy and pissed off Savage at the same time. Sounds like a good outcome to me. Batman number 9 is available now from all good comic shops. And by the way, before I get to the usual spiel, if you would like me to cover Barbara Gordon Breakout when that starts next week, let me know in the comments on this video. I can't promise that I will definitely be able to do it, but if the demand is there, I'll see what I can do. The preview showed that she'd be facing Dai, a villain that was introduced in Two-Face Trial Separation, a book you know I'm very fond of, and more on that in just a moment. I would encourage you to research your local comic shop, and if you don't have one, I'm certain there are dozens of good stores nearby that would be happy to mail you your comics. If you're opposed to the idea of cluttering up your home with comic books, then you can get this one digitally from places like Amazon as well as Neon Ichiban. Personally, I prefer physical comics, but I do like the convenience of having thousands of comic books accessible from my phone. But you do what works best for you. Cheap plug time, I'm currently running a competition where you could win one of 4 signed copies of Two-Face Trial Separation. Full details on how you can win can be found in last week's video, where I talked about a recent splurge I went on, tracking down Golden Age Two-Face comics. Check that out if you haven't already. I tried to do something a little different and, perhaps predictably, it didn't get much of a response. Next time. I'll be back this weekend with a video about Absolute Batman 20, where Jack Grimm's Robins come gunning for Batman. And after that, it'll be time to discuss the penultimate issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter, with John the Martian and Despair the Zero coming face to face with the mysterious boss of the agency. Hope to see you then.